There wasn't a second to spare after being notified of a bounty tile that could be the difference between a win and a loss.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place.
Bounty tiles are released at random throughout the 10-day bingo event. And I wanted my grubby hands on this one. Typically, just a single point separates first from second place. Will I claim it first?
Because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bingo Part 2. Now before we get into this video, I want to give a super quick update as to how we are doing in this competition. Now if you can recall, this is what the board looks like, with the exception of one minor change. Rather than having two tiles of who can get the most experience within a skill, the bingo admin saw fit that we switch one of them with who can get the most raids purples. That is music to my ears. But these are the tiles that we have remaining. The tiles that I currently have my eye on are the TOA tile, the Chambers of Xeric tile, and the Wilderness Weapon Upgrade tile, and of course the Bounty tiles. Now that you know where we're at, let's get back into it. We return to the Tombs of Amasket and search for the most valuable item in the game, the Lightbearer. I need 2 Lightbearers to complete the tile. There's one small problem. I'm dying. A lot. But even when I pop off, I still don't get rewarded. Some random goon is stealing my purple. But all jokes aside, even if you do the most damage, get the most MVPs, there's still a high chance that someone else on your team is going to get the purple. There's 7 other players. But the harder you work, the luckier you get. So I kept sending. And something dawned upon me when I was sending. I think the reason I don't love TOA, or it's not my favorite raid, is because I feel like I have such a good grasp on it. I feel like there's not a lot left for me to learn. I could take a stab at doing solos, but generally I prefer group raiding. But don't get me wrong, I can definitely see the appeal to TOA, especially when it's your first raid. After a couple raids, I finally got bored, and I actually ended up going to Vedion.
Bonk! Boink!
Now Vedion is a somewhat risky tile, and the reason for this is because unless we get all 3 Wilderness Weapon upgrades, then we will get 0 points, unlike TOA where all purples will count towards who has the most purples tile. But something about going to Vedion, equipping yourself, and hitting massive hits is so enjoyable. Hitting a 76 with a 4-tick weapon is kinda crazy, and I'm not even risking that much money. But I had to change up my setup a little bit. You'll see why. So I did what any rational person would do. I grabbed my anti-gear and I upped my risk. But the problem with anti-gear is it's just not worth it. While I love seeing my bank account go up, I'd much rather win bingo. And spending time fighting players back is less kills at Vedion. So ultimately, I put the Voidwaker back in the bank and took my beating. Things took a turn that night though, as the PKers scurried back to bed. I finally got a drop. But unfortunately, it's the drop I don't need. And this Voidwaker piece is a measly 6 mil. And I feel like I just used all my RNG on something I have no use for. I claimed the 1 and 900 drop when I needed the 1 and 600 drop. It's a new day and it's time to leave the wilderness and try some more content. Now, I feel like I haven't done much for my team yet, so we're going back to the Theater of Blood. You remember when I said there was a bounty tile? Well, I definitely wanted to grab this for my team. I called up the boys and I got right into it. Now, Tob is like my happy place. It's very rare that I'll turn down an invite to Tob. Ideally, I wanted a 3-man team, but I was happy to go with 4 or even 5. However, I actually invited a few of the opposing team members. Let's pray they don't take the purple from me. Now I only had to send about 3 or 4 Tobs, which is actually quite lucky, seeing as a purple in your name at Tob is about 1 in 36. Since I hadn't got any TOA purples, I'm counting this as a victory. A couple days later, I also snagged this in a hard mode Tob. Now we're having a lot of success. One of my teammates actually clutched up and grabbed all 3 of the wilderness weapon upgrades. But the tile that's keeping me up at night is actually the CM kit or dust. Now, I knew 2 other teams had this tile, and 3 points was no trivial amount. But in order to confirm this win, I really wanted to get a CM kit. Hopefully, my top success would linger into the chambers of Xeric. For me, Chambers feels unrewarding, and I think the reason for this is because of TOA and Tob. Once you get efficient at Tob and TOA, it feels like you're printing purples. Even Scythe kits are easier to get than Ancestral kits. You could definitely make the argument that challenge mode raids are much easier than hard mode Tob though, so maybe it balances out. But if you feel like you get less purples at Chambers, I'm right there with you. Except this time.
A little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side.
Now it wasn't a twisted kit, but it was bones in the bank and a bountiful amount of money that nobody could complain about. This guy had 1 HP at one point of this fight, and if he died, there's a possibility that we would have lost this massive split. Shout out to my boy Mopey, and congratulations on the T-bow. It's the next day and bingo ends in just 36 hours. At this point, I was definitely ready for CMs to be over with. I'm sick of the inventory management and dying from God knows why. I was ready to see that glimmering green light, get the 3-point tile, claim my bingo money, and book a flight to Hawaii. If you couldn't tell, I was so ready to not be CMing. With the remaining 36 hours, all I did was send 16 CMs. That's the only content I've done in the past 2 days of RuneScape. As I'm recording this right now, bingo ends tomorrow morning, so I'll wake up, hopefully my efforts pay off, and I take the first place prize. Well boys, we did it. We took first place, got our 100 mil split of the 1 bill pot, and claimed the title of 2024 Winter Bingo winners. I've had so much fun, and I wanted to say huge thanks to the admin team and all the people that donate to this bingo event. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you next time. Peace out.
Spinning a ring of past, I dive through memories that are locked around me. In blind days when I'm lost, the dreams that we cherished from